Hello and happy July from Martha's Community Farm. In this video, we're going to be recapping all the exciting farm happenings from May and June. It's been an incredibly busy and exciting 2 months as we transition from planting season to harvest, so let's get into it. We'll start with What's Growing On, a recap of our crop updates for the month. May marked our first official big harvest of 2024, radishes. Over the course of about 2 weeks, we harvested radishes and sent them over to the pantry. In total, we harvested about 400 pounds of radishes, which was very exciting for us. And once those radishes came out of the ground, pretty much right away, we went ahead and started planting some sweet potatoes. We planted about 1,000 sweet potato slips with the help of our volunteers. And they're going to be one of our main crops this year, so we'll be harvesting in the fall for that. We also got our first crop of carrots out of the ground and over to the pantry, 136 pounds. We're going to be pretty immediately sowing another crop in now the first crop has been harvested. So we'll have another harvest of carrots closer to the fall. We also had some very exciting garlic harvest going on. We harvested 100 heads of garlic from the 100 cloves we planted last fall, meaning these guys were in the ground for almost 9 months. Finally, we wouldn't want to miss updating you all on our peppers. June marked our first jalapeno harvest. From this point on, we'll be getting a consistent harvest of jalapenos and other varieties of sweet and hot peppers until the first frost of fall. We're very excited to start sending these large quantities of peppers over to the pantry. So overall, June has been a very successful harvest time for us. There's so much to cover on the growing side of things these last 2 months, and what we have in this video isn't even the half of it. So thank you to our volunteers who have helped make this possible. Let's pop on over to the community side of the farm happenings with our Farm Buzz segment. In May, Martha's Community Farm teamed up with the Philadelphia Mycology Club to hold a Build Your Own Shiitake Log workshop. Participants learned about mushrooms as organisms and the many methods of cultivation. After that, they got to build a shiitake log to grow at home by hammering inoculated dowels into freshly cut logs and sealing with wax. We had a fantastic time hosting and participating in this workshop, and we plan on hosting more mushroom-related workshops in the future. In June, we highlighted our love of pollinators by collaborating with the John James Audubon Center to host a joint pollinators event. Our Pollinators at the Farm event featured a build-your-own hummingbird feeder craft led by Emma, in which participants got to decorate their own hummingbird feeder with glass mosaic tiles and affix a pattern that they liked to it. The event also featured a talk from Susan, the creator of our pollinator box at the farm, about everything that goes into building and selecting the materials for a pollinator box. Steve, our expert beekeeper, followed up that talk with a little in-depth presentation about beekeeping. Steve talked about the benefits of bees as pollinators and their role as honey producers. We also had a pollinator-friendly garden care workshop led by Jake that went into detail about gardening techniques that take into account the safety of our pollinators. Thank you to everyone who participated in our community events these past 2 months. We really appreciate it. Next, we have an amazing volunteer group to feature this month in our volunteer group spotlight. Catholic Heart Work Camp is who we're spotlighting this month. About 40 participants from around the U.S. came to the farm through the Catholic Heart Work Camp program and worked for us for a total of 4 days this June. They tackled so many projects during their time here, from weeding in the food forest to staking our tomato plants. Some of the group spent most of their time in the gardens, harvesting things like carrots and garlic, as well as assisting in a large herb harvest of basil, cilantro, and mint. They also replanted some cilantro and basil plants for us so we can have another harvest of them this summer. And they all worked together to help prune the flowers off of our dill, which was bolting. The other part of the group spent the week with Jesse, doing some projects like cleaning out the barn and digging up some stumps that were near our office building. These guys maintained a great attitude during the really hard work this was. Even though it was really hot, they had a lot of fun. This team also helped demolish an unusable shed that was on the farm. This was the highlight of a lot of their weeks. They really enjoyed getting to tear down the shed and do a bit of demolition work. Our whole staff here at the farm really wants to give a big thank you to Catholic Heart Work Camp. You guys did an amazing job, and we wouldn't be able to accomplish those things without you. All right, so to close out our recap, we've got the ever-anticipated creature feature. And for this feature, we'll head on over to our patch of German thyme to check out this adorable bird's nest. Discovered in early May, we began keeping tabs on this nest as our eggs hatched into very cute little baby birds. They're named Basil, Oregano, and Dill. It was very exciting to keep tabs on them as they turned into little baby birds. And almost in a blink of an eye, they really started to grow up. Their feathers started to come in, which you'll see right here. Their mom had picked out a very nice home for them in this thyme plant. It was covered most of the time and it smelled very good every time I went to check on them. And they ended up being very, very cute little baby birds, albeit maybe a little grumpy looking right here. At this young of an age, we weren't really able to determine what type of bird they are. And then within a few days, we were left with an empty nest. They flew away, but that's okay, because as one cycle ends, another cycle just begins here at the farm, this time with some eggs in a pepper box all cozied up in our salt hay. If you have an idea about what type of bird basil, dill, and oregano are, feel free to let us know in the comments. But that marks the end of our recap. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're interested in seeing the farm for yourself, we're always accepting new volunteers and are happy to have you. Have a great summer.